Okay, so we just got out of seeing ANORA at the Edmonton International Festival. So what do you guys think about it?
Banger.
Sorry, go ahead.
Probably one of my favorite Sean Barker ones, or Baker.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you've seen his other work, it's pretty nice. I mean, I enjoyed like the tension with it, and I like kind of like the way it went from kind of more whimsical in the first half to kind of more like real and mundane in the second half.
Okay.
And again, he's really good at characters. I really also like how he kind of plays with kind of like relationship dynamics, and I think my favorite part of it was, despite being so explicit, I felt like all the like intimate scenes felt very like non-erotic. Like I didn't really feel anything while watching them.
I agree.
Which it felt more like transactional and like swapping of stuff. Which I think makes the point, which makes kind of her emotional ending a lot more relief, where you kind of felt kind of like all that pent up emotion come out. So I think it's pretty good in that regard. I mean, fuck. I really like the use of like anamorphic lenses. It was shot really well.
Okay.
He's always been good at cinematography. I don't know if he shot on 16mm film, because Red Rocket was, but this one was, I couldn't really tell.
Digital, I think.
It looked more digital. I mean, Mikey Madison, she's been in a couple movies. I think she did a really good job with the character.
That's the lead actress, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's pretty good. I've seen her in a couple things.
Okay.
This is the first thing I've seen where she doesn't die at the end, so that was nice. I was a little bit worried for her for a couple seconds. Like, I don't know how fucked up the family was. And like I think I also kind of like the tonal like differences between what her life was like versus like this like romanticized like fantasy. I think the main like core of the movie is like the fact that they're a similar age, like he's 22, she's 23, but in all honesty, because of the world she's in, she's like matured a lot faster.
Yeah.
And he hasn't. He's like a 15-year-old kid. To a point where I was worried at the beginning, like, is he actually 15?
Yeah, same.
Yeah. But I think that's really cool because it kind of just shows like how different people from different places can kind of mature differently, and there's that crossing of life. Because like his idea of what would be a relationship is literally like what a 15-year-old would think of, like, I just want a girl who'll screw me all the time, and I can play video games all day, and she'll just kind of be my laptop.
Fair. Yeah. Mustafa, what do you guys think of the movie?
7 out of 10.
What do you think?
Oh yeah, I really like the movie. It's kind of unexpected, like a thriller type thing, but then I was pleasantly surprised.
Also, I didn't mention it's hilarious as well.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah.
Okay, give me your thoughts.
7 out of 10. It's really funny. The first half was all right. So I was thinking, okay, where's this going to go from here? Obviously, it's kind of like this montage, and you kind of get sucked into her life, and you realize why she would fall for it, right? It's this guy, she's rich, and it's a really good time, having a good time. You know, she gets sucked into the fantasy of it all.
Yeah.
It's almost like a book that you'd read, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Swept off her feet, and she becomes that. But then the second half sets in, and it becomes the reality of the situation. He's a spoiled kid, and that spoiled kid acts how a spoiled kid is. He can't defend himself. He can't stand up for himself. He's just flaccid almost, if you get what the pun is.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? All he ever viewed her as was a fun time. And the problem is she's slowly falling for it, because I guess based on how the ending was, she just never had that much affection growing up. She was very like, there's very coldness to her, the way she acts, and she's always very defensive. So I guess she got to a point where she was waiting to open up to someone, and she finally did, but that person kind of let her down. So she just does what she does best. She ends it with like, she's transactional. Love becomes transactional to her. But then, her heart's broken, so it's like very hard to...
Yeah, it initially felt like she was using him, but it turns out he was using her.
Yeah, I also kind of...
For him, it's this whole philosophy of like the billionaire. When you think of billionaire, you think of them like, what's it called? She's gonna like rob him of all his money, but they can't. He has so much money that she's never going to like imagine... What's it called? No matter how much he like spends, there's always going to be more. So he's always going to win.
Oh,
I guess it's this thing of class too when you think about it, because there's like she's a working class girl, right? She's got to go pay her rent, even though she's making all this check money. We see, and it's really not enough to like have even her own apartment. She has to rent an apartment with someone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, with Igor's background of being like in the projects or something,
Yeah.
I think he's like, oh, are you a drug dealer or something? No, he just took it from his grandma.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they're more on equal levels.
yeah.
I think there's an empathy between them because they're both just doing their job.
That's how I choose to interpret the ending. Is she went straight to what she's used to, transactional.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
he embraced her in the end, and
I think it's this emotional
yeah,
resonance
and
because
try to give her some emotional release that
because
she
he
needed.
what's called although obviously she's making fun of him, he's not perverted. He's clearly just a guy who's doing his job.
Yeah.
I think she kind of understood that, but she couldn't process that idea
Yeah.
of like, oh, he's just doing his job.
But I think I think also like that's the thing is like during all the explicit scenes I didn't feel much, but at the ending they're both fully clothed and you feel it a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, really sex, I say that would make it like it's not supposed to be erotic. It's
No, but
clearly
that's
just-
what I think is
what's
good
called-
about
it opens with like a pan of the strip club, right?
Yeah.
He just pans over it like he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And all he does, and what he cares about is zooming into her face, right? He zooms into her face. That's you can tell that's what he cares about. The
But-
sex doesn't appeal to him. It's just more about like what it means.
But I
for
think
him.
that like shows. I think that like it shows because like there's more to it than just sex. You know what I mean? You can have somebody be naked and have sex and all that stuff, but if there's not like a connection,
Nice,
it
got
doesn't
that.
feel. It feels nothing. You don't feel anything with it,
There's a
and
mature-
I felt that.
There's a maturity to the filmmaking where it's like you can tell he's not like tee-hee. It's like he'll just look straight at it because it doesn't matter then. It's not about that. It's like you gotta look deeper. Like a lot of movies do have gratuitous sex, but
Yeah.
that's an immaturity in filmmaking where you're like.
Yeah. No,
What's
this
it
was
called?
very
This was my first Sean Baker movie, though. Have you guys
Yeah.
seen any of his
Sean Baker
filmography?
is very,
Florida Project and Red
Say-
Rocket. I haven't watched Tangerine yet, but I want to.
To say obsessed is wrong. He's very fascinated by the idea of sex. He has a lot of sex workers in his movies. He has a
Yeah.
lot of people having sex. He has a lot of people in that industry, right? Like even Florida Project, which doesn't have to do with the direct sex, like sex worker has prostitution in it.
Yeah.
He's very kind of interested in it as like a way of exchange. Like it's a transactional thing. All his films have it as a means of transaction, as a way of people to get out of their situation. I think it's almost like an exposure of how we view sex. Because we view sex as like, we view sex as like, oh, they're making so much money, right? We're like, no, they can be scraping by, right? It's
Yeah.
not like. And I like how they show the guy who manages the place. She's not like a dick, right? She gives him a hug at the end. Like she clearly is like, she has a positive feeling about it.
Yeah.
It's not. She doesn't hate it completely. It's just what she does.
Mhm.
She's good at it.
Yeah, but what I really like is I think like the core is that the fact that like
Yeah.
due to her situation she's grown up a lot more despite them being the same age. She's
That's right.
way
She can
more
handle her
adult
shit, and then it's
and
like
way more mature
and the
than
fact
he
that
is.
he's like 2 years younger, right? Almost it's this interesting dynamic that she like she married him for his money, but at the end it feels like she's almost babysitting him. She doesn't have to take it that far. She didn't even ask for more money. You know, like she could have went for the divorce lawyer. She doesn't have very much, right? She could honestly the logical solution was to go for the divorce lawyer. She could probably make a case, but she didn't because she just wanted it out.
I also think that they would. I think kind of.
Yeah, I think they broke her.
They would be able to beat her. Like you know what I mean? Because there's that thing
Yeah.
where like money can buy a lot of stuff, and I really think that she wouldn't be able to go after him just because they would be able to
on that one.
straight it out in court and outlast her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, so to cap it off, are you guys would give number scores to the film? What would you rate it out of?
I don't usually like to do numbers,
I
but
don't know.
it's hard.
How about you?
I don't like to do numbers, so it's hard. But I'd probably say like it's up there. Like it's one of the best movies I've seen this year.
I give it a 7. Probably the best movie I've seen this year. I don't rate things very high. Like I'm very strict on my ratings. So when I really like something, I really like something.
Okay, so 7 out of 10. Me,
Seven's really good.
I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I liked it a lot.
I will recommend this. Like I really think people should go. see it.
I
Okay,
do-
there we go. He recommends
Here's
it.
the thing. In the beginning, I was like, I don't get the hype, man. The hype doesn't make sense. I'm like, yeah, it's a fun, it's escapist. But right, he knows. I
It's
think
more real than
that's
this.
that's right. Here's the thing. I know the genius of it because it gets you into the escapism. You're like, oh, it's just an escapist movie, right? But then it gets reality hits as fast. That moment the door opens in that scene where what's it called? Not his brother. Is it brother? No, his godfather.
Yeah,
comes in.
yeah.
That's when reality breaks.
Yeah. I think that was the beginning of the second
first half
act.
as well, it's like it feels like a wedding promo. Like watching
Yes.
a perfume commercial.
Yeah, there's a lot of needle drops in that first half, and they're all like big techno songs, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's very pop, very
really
colorful.
Like the use of
Yeah.
the tattoo, like all the things she said song, because that's a Russian song. So I was like, oh, that's cute that they put that in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, by the
Because that's
way,
originally
I'm
a
gonna
Russian
do
song.
something and then come back. Are you guys taking the bus or train?
We drove.
All right.
Where'd you guys park?
All right, that was our thoughts on Anora. All right, take care. Bye bye.